Subway crimes up 41% in New York, serious crimes up 35%. Public fear is part of the reason Hochul is in a much closer race than a couple of months ago. Enter New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Remember, he came to power promising to clean things up. He's a former New York police officer, but he's facing backlash for the crime across the Big Apple. Obviously, it's affecting Hochul, a fellow Democrat. New York Post op-ed, former Miami Beach Mayor Philip Levine, also a Democrat, sent a message to Adams: buckle down on crime. Mayor Levine with us now. Good to see you, sir. Appreciate it. You think this is part of the reason that Zeldin is doing so much better is because of how Eric Adams really has not been able to get a handle on things, or hasn't been willing to get a handle on things in New York City?
Leland, I'm not sure it's specifically Eric Adams in his inability so far to make a dent in crime, but overall, the crime issue in New York, how bad it is, how people feel so unsafe, clearly is helping Zeldin move forward in these polls. I mean, think about this. People in New York are not dumb. They're smart. They understand that unless they have a governor that will change the rules of the game by maybe getting rid of some of these DAs that are pushing these criminals back on the street, that are allowing all this bail reform, people like Eric Adams in these municipal posts don't have the authority to do what a governor can do. And I think that is really helping Zeldin right now.
You think about the New York Post front page, crazy cat. Hochul says it's GOP conspiracy to convince people crime is rising. Is there any discussion among sort of moderate Democrats like yourself, both nationwide, also in New York where you spend a lot of time, and in Florida, of a reckoning inside the Democratic Party on messaging and on position as it relates to crime, or will it require a loss in a place like New York for that to happen?
Leland, I think it's going to require more than a loss in New York. It's going to require a loss in various places, like, for example, my home state, Florida. I think that what the Democrats are starting to realize is that this progressive left-wing message not only doesn't work, the city streets are unsafe in Chicago and San Francisco and New York City. And what voters are saying, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, you want to feel safe going out on the street. You take that, you mix it with the horrible inflation, and unfortunately, the Democrats don't have much of a message right now. When you see what's happening in New York City, and what happens in New York affects the entire country, Democrats are saying to themselves, we have a big problem, and we're going to have to go back to the days of Clintonian politics, because right now we're kind of living in the Carter years. I feel like it's the 1970s right now. We're watching New York City in the 70s, and that has to change. And it did change on, whether you like it or not, it changed with Morning in America.
Ronald Reagan, 1980. The 70s were not good times. I don't think anybody wants to go back to them. You may make the point we may already be here. This is why I'm so glad always to have you on. But we think about where we are, and you talk about where Democrats are right now. Bill Clinton was famous for saying, I feel your pain. He was famous for the empathy that he found with voters on whatever the issue, especially the economy. And we're not hearing that from Joe Biden on the issue of the economy. He's telling everybody we're strong as hell as he eats an ice cream cone. And we don't hear it from governors and mayors of Democratic states and cities on the issue of crime, of empathizing with people who feel scared. I'm wondering, as you talk to folks at fundraisers and other pundits and obviously strategists and consultants, what do they make of this sort of denying Americans how they feel?
I think what they're feeling is that we're not listening to the customers. The customers are speaking, and the customers are saying, clean up these cities, make it safe for us. And there's no question, there's alarm bells going off everywhere right now. But where are we? We're living in kind of this Mondale, Dukakis, McGovern era. And now we're in the Carter years, and everyone's saying to themselves, when are we going to get out of the desert? Because this is not going to be good. Clearly, if you can't feel safe, how would you elect a Democrat right now? Which city that's democratically controlled feels safe? It certainly is not Chicago. It's not Washington. It's not San Francisco. It's not New York. And I think that is a very terrible stain on the Democrats right now. And they are waking up to this message. Unfortunately, Leland, it's going to be a little too late. It's going to require some kind of a cleaning house.
I'm going to give you one Democratic city that I felt very safe in, actually, which was Savannah, Georgia, a Democratic city in a Republican state. So there you go. Hey, Mayor, it's good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Leland.
Yes, sir. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.